Hello, I'm Kevin Lynn. I'm the Executive Director of the Institute for Sound Public Policy, and I am also the founder of U.S. Tech Workers. And it's a tech worker issue I'm coming to you today to talk about. And this is going to be a really short video, probably 7 minutes tops. And I wanted to push back against something. I was watching a podcast. It was The Thoughtful Money with Adam Taggart. It's a podcast I really enjoy. I have a lot of admiration for Adam and what he's doing there. And about a month ago, he had Professor Jeffrey Sachs on. Now, for those who don't know Jeffrey Sachs, he is a economist, policy analyst, and expert, professor at Columbia University. And I actually am an admirer of his as well. However, toward the very end of the podcast, Adam asked Jeffrey Sachs, he said, hey, look, if you were made economic czar of the United States and you were given this magic wand and you could do anything you want, any kind of policy, what would you do? And so Jeffrey began to lay out several things. And one of the things he was adamant about was like, no protectionism. And then he talked about this skills divide that's keeping American households from creating great wealth and, our people entering and being part of the upper middle class workers of our society. Now, the issue is, this is where I'm pushing back, and this is where Professor Sachs, as much respect as I have for you, I got to push back because you are absolutely wrong. Because you're treating this as a access to education and an upskilling, to use your words, upskilling issue. That's not what's going on here. Americans have the skills, talents, know-how, capacity, drive, and are positioned to take full advantage of what's going on in the world of technology to not only increase their own wealth, but also the wealth of the country. However, what's going on, what's keeping them from doing that are these out of control employment visa programs like the H-1B, the L-1, and work employment authorization programs like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, OPT, optional practical training. This is what is literally ripping out the middle and bottom rungs of the career ladders for Americans who want to pursue careers in STEM. It's also what's been flatlining wages in areas like computer science for the last 20 years. Don't believe me? Go to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and check it out. But what I want to do right now, ladies and gentlemen, is play a snippet from that podcast. And then I'm probably going to play a snippet of an interview I did with a tech worker to just kind of ram home the point I'm making here. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and switch screens here, open that up.
So I would try to build for the long term. I would design fiscal policy for the long term. I would try to address what became two societies in America. Financially successful professionals and managers and coders and scientists, and then half the country not being able to pay the bills. Protectionism is not going to solve that. China is not the cause of that, despite what some people think. That has come from technological change. That has come from the kind of skills one needs to make a decent living in the 21st century. That has come with the need for upskilling all of society in different ways. It even requires new kinds of tax policy.
Back in there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the clip. And for those of you who follow us, you understand just how wrong-headed that was. Again, we have a whole class of workers that actually need to be protected against globalization, neoliberalism, this free-for-all of movement of people, capital, and goods across international borders, which has been beggaring many, many workers here and enriching a handful. And what I want to do real quickly is I'm going to play an interview that I did with a tech worker several years ago. And this really drives home the point we're making here on how Americans are being displaced. Who, in this case, Melody, who has a master's in computer science. So here we go. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Were the workers from Cognizant, who you worked with, highly skilled?
Some were and some weren't. I interacted mainly with the Cognizant on-site leads, but the development and coding, that was all done in offshore facilities. Generally, the on-site leads, they were a go-between us Anthem workers and then their off-site workers, which we didn't really meet with. I know a lot of them had to be trained, so they aren't really high-skilled if they had to be trained.
Did you see or know of them doing work you and your coworkers couldn't do?
No, I actually saw some of the quotes from Cognizant. They would quote simple development estimates like adding 1 or 2 fields to a file feed or an interface for 300 hours. If I or another Anthem developer could have quoted, we could have completed in a day or 2 or under 40 hours.
What sort of interaction did you have with the workers on visas?
Most of the interactions were through email or phone and status meetings the Cognizant execution leads would hold. Some of them became my friends and were nice. However, I became very wary when we were told to treat the contracted workers as equals, but only U.S. workers began to lose their jobs, their responsibilities, and their assignments. That's not equal treatment.
Right. So that kind of drives home the point. And I'm hoping that, Professor Sachs, if you see this, you will adjust your thinking to consider the fact that what's creating this divide is not education. It's not, well, it is access to upskilling, because what's happening is Americans are being displaced, not allowed to do these jobs. It's gotten downright tribal, because understand, 74% of the people that come here on H-1B visas come from one country, India. And that's who, late last year, a court case was won against Cognizant for country of origin discrimination, where they prioritized people from South Asia, and basically discriminated against the rest of the world. It's very tribal out there. And this is what's killing American white-collar workers and professionals who are in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And this has been going on since 1990. I mean, if you look back go to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and look at the salaries for computer science workers, you're going to see that these salaries have flatlined. Now, how can this be with so much demand? Eric Weinstein very aptly stated there's no such thing as a labor shortage in a capitalist economy, because eventually everything hits equilibrium. Well, what's going on here is demand is there, but wages are kept artificially low because of the huge supply of foreign workers being brought in to do these jobs and the active displacement of American workers. We have seen this time and again, whether it's Disney, SoCal Edison, Northeast Utilities. They attempted to do it at the Tennessee Valley Authority. A few examples of thousands of examples or thousands of companies where H-1B visa dependent consulting firms have been brought in to outsource the work. Now, STEM OPT, as I'd mentioned, the rungs of the career ladder are being pulled away, stripped away from Americans. Well, at the bottom rungs, we have STEM OPT. Now, it's a work authorization for 3 years. It's given to any foreign student who graduates with a STEM degree. Now, the reason they're so desirable over American workers is not smarts. It's because the employers don't have to pay their share of FICA or Social Security taxes. Moreover, because it's practical training, they could pay them anything they want to. And we, at this current time, don't have any visibility into the agreements or the programs structured between this student and the company. So that's what's going on. I mean, and these employment visas are not bringing over the best and the brightest. The H-1B visa is a lottery. As I'd mentioned, employers like STEM OPT because they get a big financial benefit hiring a foreigner over an American. So Adam, Jeff, needed to push back on that. So I'm going to sign off there. Want to thank everyone for watching this. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to us. If you're watching it on X, give us a little bit of love there. Watching on Substack, hey, why don't you subscribe and follow us there? Take care now. Bye-bye.